Well, a lot of people carry weapons in our state, as we saw in one of our top stories this morning, a robbery at a Walgreens, and it was a bystander who pulled a gun and shot the suspect.
So what rights do gun owners have in these situations? Tom Fergus is live with an arms instructor getting some answers this morning. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, good morning, you guys. You know, there are so many questions after hearing this story, but here I am at C2 Tactical. We're just west of IKEA in Tempe. It's a beautiful, beautiful store, and joining me is David Laird, who's an instructor here. He's been here for a while, a 4-year military veteran. David, when you first heard this story, what were your thoughts?
Well, myself as well as all the other instructors, we're going to be really looking at this case. So far, it looks like Phoenix PD says this guy did everything right, and so we're happy about that. But we're going to have more questions and answers for probably a few more months to find out what he was thinking, whether or not he had a CCW, whether or not he understood the ramifications of the situation he put himself into.
Yeah, let's talk about the CCW, the concealed and carry weapon. This state doesn't have that law, but you're saying they actually do.
They do. It's not required to carry a concealed firearm. However, if you have your CCW, there's a lot more places that you're allowed to go where without it you wouldn't be able to go.
So I'm standing in the store, I see this robbery going on, I've got a gun, and I see him pulling a gun on this guy. You know, do I have to yell at him, say, hey, I've got a gun, put the gun down?
We always try to advise folks, if at all possible, to do so. However, it's not legally required. In essence, if you warn the suspect, you could, in fact, cause more harm because he'll have the first step.
Yeah. So there were a dozen people in this store, from what I understand. There's a lot of scenarios. You got to watch out. If you're going to shoot a gun, there's a lot of other things, foreground, background. Explain to the viewers some of the things that you have to be concerned about if you're going to pull a gun on someone like that.
Well, you have to be concerned about all the other people in the store, or any of them on the robbery, or any of them associates of his. Is there a getaway driver or somebody else waiting outside? You have to be concerned about the construction of the building and whether or not, if you miss, if it's going to strike or hurt anyone else, if it's going to penetrate any of the walls and harm someone on the other side. The situation is very fluid, very dynamic, and you have to add that stuff up really quick to decide whether or not it's necessary.
Yeah, some of the things you have to worry about. You have to be a darn lawyer to fully understand what could happen if you pull a gun out and shoot someone, even if it's a robbery like this. You have to have a law degree practically.
Well, we try to encourage everybody to read the Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 13, and specifically Chapter 4, Justification of Use of Force, and get really, really fluid with it. And laws are changing all the time, so what is okay today may change tomorrow. So you can't just get your CCW and forget about it. It's something you have to constantly practice as much as possible to get fluid with that draw, to make sure that you can do it fast, that you can be accurate, and make every single shot count.
So let's say I don't run around with a gun that often, but I have one at home for home security. You know, what are some of the concerns you have to have around your house as well? You can't just shoot someone breaking into a window in your house.
No, Arizona law requires that that they knowingly or willfully remained unlawfully to commit a theft or felony therein. So that's a really long sentence that basically describes that you have to have a lot of information first. Simply the act of breaking in is not enough. You're still looking for my life or someone else's life was at serious risk of grave bodily harm or death. And do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a condo? Do you live in a house? What are your surroundings? Where's your kids' bedrooms? What firearm's going to work best in that situation? How often do you practice getting a good clear line of sight, etc. And the best practice is to install security doors and windows and keep them on the outside of the home and prevent them from ever getting in. Yeah. Having an alarm system, having a dog, having security cameras, things like that, so you never put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, David Laird, thank you so much. Thanks for serving as well. Appreciate it. Army guy for 4 years. Yeah, you know, they have a lot of classes here, and it's interesting. Their classes, you take one, and then they add another one on, and then they add another one on, and you can just continue to get, you know, educated on gun safety and whatnot. But you know what? If you want to be Harry Carey, you know what they have here? They have simulators. So you can go into a simulator. They can put the same scenario. You could be in some kind of a store, and they'll have a whole simulator. You can go through the whole thing without the legal troubles, without, you know, perhaps, you know, killing someone. Yeah, so interesting story. And like I said, all these trainers here are going to be paying attention to this story. They're going to be following this for sure, as will most of us.
Yeah, they have some great classes there. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you. Good info.